Travel alert, using the path, you travel south, taking an hour to arrive, standing along the eastern bank of the Onyx River. The land here facing south is forested for as far as the eye can see. This is the far edge of the dreaded Evilroot Forest, and just gazing upon its dreary magnificence is enough to make the less heroic turn and flee. Indeed, as you make your way to a small path penetrating the wood, you feel the temperature suddenly drop and you sense something horrible approaching. Moments later, a ghostly figure silently glides toward you, its appearance quite ghastly. The levitating apparition seems to understand you, and it first raises its hand and points to you with bony fingers before addressing the party in a chill, raspy voice. I am Kriat, the everlasting lord and defender of the Evilroot. You have invaded my homeland, and will pay for this intrusion with your lives. A specter? Cries Sainadius, fumbling for his holy symbol. But I have no chance of turning such a monster. I have heard of such monsters before, Eswin whispers, his fear somehow kept in check. But this one does not look how I would have imagined it. Perhaps Eswin is onto something. Let's do a reason check for Eswin and see what happens. Needing a 14 or less from Eswin, a 13 was rolled. Success, Janet, this vision before us does not seem real. Eswin informs you, noticing something very wrong about the apparition. Everyone, it's an illusion. Concentrate. Dispel the illusion. And it works. Opening your eyes again, the floating specter is gone, the illusion has indeed been dispelled. Well done, not everything is as it seems. An illusion to guard the forest entrance, Eswin spits, shaking his head. A weaker party would have believed it, and perished. Indeed. Let's do a party curiosity check to see if anyone knows more about what just happened. Needing a 11 or less from your heroes, a 6 was rolled. Success, this may have been an illusion of him, but the legend of Kriat is very real, Sainadius begins. He was a formidable dark cleric in life and he's said to still haunt this forest in death. Let's hope we never encounter the real monster within this cursed place. The somber thought chills your adventuring party for several moments. The area here is dark, the forest canopy above so dense that it blocks almost all light. The tiny path leads back to the raft that will take you west across the Onyx River and due south into the heart of the Evilroot Forest itself. Travel alert, using the path, you travel south, taking 2 days to arrive, you continue along the tiny path, growing more afraid by the hour but finding enough clues along the way to convince you that the undead army led by the Angel of Death has passed through here recently. The forest is now so dark that it's nearly impossible to tell day from night. There, some light. Eswin whispers, pointing ahead. Be extra careful, that may be the enemy camp ahead. We need to get off this path and look for another way forward. Heeding Eswin's advice, you carefully step away from the small path to search for another way forward. After an hour of fumbling in the dark, you emerge on the far edge of what appears to be stony ruins, a lost city deep within the forest. An eerie magical light shines from the center of the ruins perhaps 100 yards ahead, providing enough light to see. And just in time. Waiting in ambush is a small group of skeletons that immediately attack. Your party is under attack. Facing the entire party are 6 skeletons, 3 skeleton archers and 1 bear skeleton. It's Oriana's turn. What do you want her to do? Oriana readies her short bow and fires at skeleton archer number 1, needing a 13 to hit. Die roll is a 12, plus 4 to hit. Oriana hits skeleton archer number 1, doing 1 point of damage. Skeleton archer number 1 suffers minimal damage versus ammunition and defeating it. It's Kartha's turn. What do you want her to do? Kartha uses turn undead, but wasn't able to turn any of the encountered undead. Skeleton number 4 closes in on Ariana to attack. Skeleton number 6 closes in on Ariana to attack. It's Janet's turn. What do you want her to do? Janet uses turn undead, attempting to turn destroy all encountered undead. Skeleton number 1 is turned. Skeleton number 2 is turned. Skeleton number 3 is turned. Skeleton number 4 is turned. Skeleton Eswin readies his sling and fires at skeleton archer number 2, needing a 13 to hit. Die roll is a 14, plus 2 to hit. Eswin hits. Skeleton archer number 3 attacks Eswin with its short bow, needing it. It's Redfern's turn. What do you want him to do? Redfern casts magic missile on skeleton archer number 2, striking it with a magic missile for 4 points of damage. It's Barthal's turn. What do you want him to do? Barthal leaps forward and engages with skeleton archer number 3 in hand-to-hand combat. It's Senires's turn. What do you want him to do? GM note, a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled, with higher values acting first. Senires uses turn undead, but wasn't able to turn any of the encountered undead. It's Barthal's turn. What do you want him to do? Barthal readies his sling and fires at skeleton archer number 2, needing a 13 to hit. Die roll is a 5, plus 2 to hit. Barthal Senires readies his mace and swings at bear skeleton, needing a 13 to hit. Die roll is a 18, plus 2 to hit. Janet readies her mace plus 1 and swings at bear skeleton, needing a 13 to hit. Ariana readies her short sword plus 1 and swings at bear skeleton. Eswin readies his short sword plus 1 and swings at bear skeleton. Cartha readies her mace and swings at bear skeleton, needing a 13 to hit. Die roll is a 2, plus 2 to hit. Cartha missed. Redfern readies his ornate dagger plus 1 and swings at bear skeleton, needing a 13 to hit. Die roll is a 3, plus 3 to hit. Redfern misses bear skeleton. Skeleton archer number 2 attacks Janet with its short bow, needing a 4. Skeleton archer number 3 attacks Eswin with its short sword, needing a 16 to hit. GM note, a new combat round has begun. Ariana readies her short sword plus 1 and swings at bear skeleton, needing a 13 to hit. Janet readies her mace plus 1 and swings at skeleton archer. It's Cartha's turn. What do you want her to do? Cartha readies her mace and swings at skeleton archer number 3, needing a 13 to hit. Barthal readies his sling and fires at skeleton archer number 2, needing a 13 to hit. Senires readies his mace and swings at skeleton Eswin readies his short sword plus 1 and swings at skeleton archer number 3, needing a 13 to hit. Die roll is. It's Redfern's turn. What do you want him to do? GM note, a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled. GM note, after any remaining combat, click the Take Items button to grab any dropped loot. Eswin readies his sling and fires at skeleton archer number 2, needing a 13 to hit. Die roll is a 14, plus 2 to hit. Eswin hits skeleton archer number 2, doing 1 point of damage. Skeleton archer number 2 suffers minimal damage versus ammunition and defeating it. Well done. All combatants have been defeated, ending the battle. Each hero receives 53 experience points. The skeletons are dispatched, clearing the way into the ruins. These are the Onyx Ruins, begin Senires, clearly disturbed. It's said that a powerful dark elf before the birth of Sisla 1,200 years ago opened a portal to the realm of nightmares here and unleashed thousands of demons and undead to attack our world. Sisla defeated this drow, closed the portal and buried these ruins. We should not be gazing upon them. Let's do a party curiosity check to see if anyone knows anything more about the ruins. Needing a 11 or less from your heroes, a 5 was rolled. Success. GM note, your quest log has been updated. Click the quests button for all the details. Wait a moment, now I remember. Redfern whispers. The Sislans claimed that Sandaria was caught excavating these ruins, and that's how the first armies of the undead were unleashed upon Kathleen a year ago. Yes, that Mad Circle representative must have been behind all of this. Senires adds. Regardless, we need to move forward. Eswin interjects, quite uncomfortable with the party's relative exposure on the fringe of the ruins. Let's go. You nod, and Eswin takes point as the party silently moves toward the center of the ruins, trying your best to avoid the light overhead and not make yourselves easily seen. The far edge of the Onyx Ruins stands silently here, softly illuminated by a magical silver light from above. The forest around you looks impenetrable, but you know the path out of the Evilwood lies somewhere close by to the north. Janet casts Cure Light Wounds on herself, healing her for 7 hit points. Kartha casts Cure Light Wounds on Eswin, healing him for 6 hit points. Eswin nods and takes the short bow. Barthol nods and takes the short bow. Janet nods and takes the 20 ammunition. Janet nods and takes the 20 ammunition. Travel alert: using the path, you travel south, taking 20 minutes to arrive. After meandering through the ruins, you find a large stone temple, certainly weathered and damaged but still in modest shape despite being buried for centuries. 2 heavy doors allow access to the temple's interior and you cautiously step inside. The interior of the temple is some 100 feet by 40 feet, a once magnificent gathering and worshipping place that has been all but destroyed over centuries of existence. More magical light emanates from the far end of the temple, drawing your attention and leading you there a few minutes later. Now standing at the opposite end of the temple, you quickly find something large, perhaps 20 feet tall, covered in a large grey tarp. What really attracts your attention, however, is the equally large glassy globe levitating off the floor here, a swirling, murky substance gently churning inside. Upon spotting the sphere, Sainadius gasps, recognizing the object for what it is. "Dear Sisla, we've found the Onyx Seal, gateway to the realm of nightmares." Your party searches for traps but don't find any. Your party carefully approaches the globe and searches it. The object feels like it's made of glass and emits no heat nor sound. Moments later, a horrific flaming demon appears from within the globe, then another and another, until dozens are silently bouncing off the sphere from within. Clearly, should the Onyx Seal be broken, these monsters would flood the temple and attack. You stand there in stunned silence, watching the fire demons flood the murky interior of the seal, clawing at you as if trying to escape. Sainadius then continues, quite shaken by the ghastly encounter. It appears that Sisla seal is still holding up. We should ensure that the seal is secure, feel for any weak points upon its surface. While the Onyx Seal is somewhat scarred and pitted, the magic holding the seal together is solid and secure. It's currently impossible for the demons to escape. "So you found it?" comes a woman's voice from behind, taking your party by surprise. Bathed in white light perhaps 30 feet away is the Angel of Death, a glowing female figure with tremendous magical power. Stunned, you watch helplessly as the woman finishes a spell, paralyzing your muscles and immobilizing you. The Angel of Death then levitates you into the air, mocking you as you rise 10 feet off the temple floor and over a large, seemingly bottomless pit in the far corner. You can still look about and even speak but are otherwise paralyzed. What do you focus on? Choose an option: ghostly woman, onyx seal, pit in floor. This is your first good look at the Angel of Death. Her radiance is brilliant, almost beautiful, and her raw magical power is undeniable. You recognize of course that your entire party is no match for her so long as she has the upper hand. The Angel of Death relaxes the glowing magic all about her, appearing as a normal human sorceress. She then steps alongside the tarped object near the onyx seal, completely in control. Sandaria. Sanadius gasps, nearly disbelieving his eyes. But you were executed. I watched you burn. The woman scoffs, annoyed by Sanadius. Yes, Jepanor and your Sislan Wei tried to murder me. Me. The Lord of Kathleen and Inner Circle representative. Now I will have my revenge, break Sisla's onyx seal and plunge the world back into the age of damnation. We knew you were wicked. Sanadius shouts, bravely making his case. You sought to undermine the Sislan Wei and we put a stop to you. Fool. Sandaria returns, her anger venomous. You religious zealots are all the same, convinced your interpretation of history is correct and worshipping Sisla as a goddess. But all you did was enslave the people. I spent my entire life trying to undo your lies, and for that I was tortured and burned alive. To hell with all of you, now I will have my revenge. How did you escape? Eswin bitterly asks, all too familiar with magic users gone out of control. Who said I escaped? Sandaria channels away the remaining magic surrounding her, revealing her true form. She's been hideously burned. Without her cosmetic magic, Sandaria appears ghastly, her hair is gone, she's missing her right eye and scar tissue heaves and twists all over her body. Suddenly, Sandaria looks to be the true victim and for a moment you take intense pity on her. Even Jepanor underestimated my power and I was able to teleport away at the last moment. But not before the fire had all but consumed me and burned me to my very soul. I had the best interests of all within Kathleen at heart, and yet they betrayed me and tried to murder me. The Sislans thought they were sending me to hell, but I will show them hell itself. Utterly disgusted with her true form, Sandaria magically alters herself again, appearing as she did before the Sislans cruelly burned her at the stake. Sandaria pulls the tarp away from the large object standing beside the onyx seal, revealing a 20-foot-tall statue of a perfect warrior. Embedded in its right hand is the life's heart. You've found the holy relic. But the Angel of Death, Sandaria, has other plans for both you and the life's heart. The life's heart contains nearly limitless power, but to shatter the onyx seal I need to steal the soul of a true hero to reach that power. This Kartha will do nicely. I shall extract her soul, bring my golem to life, command it to destroy the onyx seal and allow the legions of hell to flood this wicked world. Choose an option: a true hero? What about Redfern? Demand that Redfern do something, match magic with Redfern's magic? Recognizing that Sandaria and Redfern are both truistics and the strongest of mages, surely he can match his power against hers and save all of you. Yes, match magic with magic. Redfern, it's now or never. Ariana cries out just as you were about to order him to use his magic. Save us. Redfern frowns and looks away, just as magically imprisoned as the rest of the party. Now, wizard. Eswin adds, his hatred for all things magical being temporarily put aside. Strike her down and free us. I can't. The wizard finally shouts, now utterly desperate. It's no use, I can't do it. But you're a truistic, destined to sit on the inner circle someday. Ariana cries out, her faith in him beginning to buckle. You can match your magic against hers. Altruistic? Sandaria scoffs, surprised by the statement. This fool thinks he's altruistic? The nerve. Redfern squirms a bit more but is utterly helpless. And now, one of his darkest secrets is being revealed as well, and there is little he can do about it. Wait, you're not altruistic? Ariana condemns, quickly recognizing the truth. You've been lying to us all along? Are you even a real magic user? Of all things, Redfern begins to weep as he begs for forgiveness, and it's not a pretty sight. How do you react? Choose an option: condemn Redfern, forgive Redfern, ignore Redfern. While almost as angry as the rest of the party, you've never really been sure what, exactly, altruistic is in the first place and what that truly means. Hence, the fact that Redfern is not altruistic isn't that big of a deal to you and you ignore the revelation. Of course, escaping the clutches of Sandaria is a big deal, and you're no closer to finding a resolution to that. As Redfern continues to sob, and clearly unable to help your party in any way, you look around frantically for some way out of your situation. Paralyzed and levitating above a dark pit, you realize that your only hope is to somehow convince Sandaria not to destroy all of you. What do you focus on? Choose an option: diplomacy, let's work this out. Reason, you will die too. Tolerance, forgive Kathleen. Using every ounce of diplomacy you can muster, you almost beg Sandaria not to kill all of you, break the Onyx seal and essentially return the world to the Age of Damnation. However, you had no chance of changing her mind. Sandaria is completely blinded by revenge at this point and is quite prepared now to do the unthinkable. Sandaria's stare nearly pierces your heart, her need for blind vengeance overwhelming. Despite her own elvish innocence, however, Ariana calls down with one last question. Representative Sandaria, why do this? You've been betrayed, yes. But the world is also a place of honor and beauty and discovery. We can all just get along. Why do all this? Sandaria smirks in her insanity, her response icy cold. To watch it all burn. GM note: Kartha has just left the adventuring party. Having had enough of your party, all you can do is watch as Sandaria pulls Kartha away and magically binds her to the statue, fastening her to the crystal object with no chance of escape. Kartha's fate now appears sealed, but what will Sandaria do with the rest of you? Beneath you lies the Tomb of Zixxim, occupied by an angry ghost who destroys all who enter. I've got what I need, now the rest of you can drop dead. And with that, Sandaria releases you from her levitation spell. Your entire party, minus Kartha, falls into the pit in the floor, quickly disappearing into the inky blackness below. The fall into the abyss lasts a few terrifying seconds. At the last moment, you sense water below and miraculously plunge into a large, cold, and deep underground lake. Striking the water hurts like hell, but soon your party is treading water and looking about, very lucky to be alive. You immediately spot an obvious light along the northern wall of the underground lake, two torches flickering in the inky blackness of the cavern. While it's impossible to do any sort of thorough search from your position, you can tell that the lake is quite large and there is likely no other escape but to the north. The lake is cold, dark, and extremely dangerous. If you don't head north soon, you will likely freeze to death and drown, if a Gru does not get you first. Travel alert: using the water, you travel north, taking 15 minutes to arrive. A well-lit hallway is chiseled out of the northern wall of the underground lake here, its construction perfect as if it were just developed yesterday. The air is cold and damp, and a moderate breeze rushes past you, although the flickering of the torches lining the hallway seems to defy the wind. I am going to kill the miserable charlatan. Eswin cries out, rushing Redfern as he begins wringing himself out. Sanadius and Ariana quickly intervene, the situation quite awkward for everyone. Why? Eswin demands. Why fool us like that and pretend to be altruistic? Redfern looks away for several long moments, then finds the courage to speak. Honestly, I thought I was altruistic when I first met all of you. It's a long story. We clearly have the time, Eswin responds with biting sarcasm, looking about. What the hell happened? Redfern turns to you, asking with his eyes whether to proceed. How do you respond? Choose an option, get lost, traitor. Maybe another time, tell the story now. The curiosity score for Janet remains the same. You nod for Redfern to continue, the entire party wanting to hear what Redfern has to say as well. After Father and I left Kathleen a year ago, we journeyed to Chagaria, where Father quickly succumbed to the Nemfruit and became an ultimate. He wanted me to do the same thing, but I wanted nothing to do with it. Instead, I convinced him to let me try becoming an honorable wizard atop Mount Rebirth, perhaps even a genuine truistic. Mount Rebirth, the Valley of Destiny, where all truistics must endure a deadly ritual to gain their power, Sainadius confirms, perhaps enlightening your fellow party adventurers as well. What happened? Redfern acknowledges Sainadius' concise summary, then looks away again, preferring to stare blankly into the darkness as his own dark story unfolds. We finally reached Mount Rebirth about a month ago. A gauntlet of challenges awaited us, monsters, magical beings, a deadly riddle. We then finally reached the summit, where I learned what? Eswin demands, still quite angry with the magic user. You learned that to complete the ritual, you had to actually jump into the extinct volcano, didn't you? Sainadius interjects, aware of the potentially lethal ritual. Redfern's harrowed gaze more than confirms the statement of the priest, the wizard continuing moments later as he relives the nightmare yet again. I couldn't do it. What fool would leap to his death in the hope of somehow being reborn and made into a truistic? Who was I to succeed where so many others had died? And why didn't Father tell me about it before we arrived? Not all of us can take such a leap of faith, Sainadius says, the pun likely intended. So what did you do? Redfern looks to him, but it's Ariana who slowly nods, encouraging Redfern to continue. Father knew what would happen, that I wouldn't do it, couldn't do it. He just laughed and ridiculed me. And then he withdrew the Nemfruit and told me to take it, to become an ultimate like him, to surrender my conscience and spend my life chained to his evil. Now lost in the moment, Redfern begins to weep again, watching the events take place within his mind. We struggled, there on the stairway hanging over the very throat of Mount Rebirth. And then he pushed me, I fell backward, spinning, out of control. I lunged for him, just to keep from falling. And instead he fell, down into the crater, down to his death. The magic user closes his eyes, still hateful of his father but even more hateful of what he did to him. Moments later, Father's body erupted with magicka. His magical power spewed upward and I absorbed it, my mind, my body, my entire spirit. In that moment, I became a wizard, no, a truistic, a hero to help save Mariga from itself and one day sit on the inner circle. I was sure of it. Sure of it. So, you murdered your father atop Mount Rebirth, stole his power and joined this party believing you were a truistic when you're actually nothing of the sort, Eswin cruelly paraphrases, his anger still quite strong and his own soul unmoved by Redfern's story. You're just a low-level magic user, aren't you? Redfern looks away again, his shame most obvious. So, what do you have to say about Redfern's story? Choose an option, empathy, I'm glad you survived, optimism, you're still a hero. Reason, you did your best. Janet permanently increases her reason score by 1 point, thinking about Redfern's story. You explain in matter-of-fact terms that he did seek to do the right thing throughout the very trying experience, and even though his father was accidentally killed atop Mount Rebirth, Redfern still did his very best. The response helps calm the hapless wizard, encouraging him to finish. After Father's death, I decided to return to Kathleen, where I met all of you. At the time, I swear to you I thought I was a truistic. However, the power I absorbed from Father is gone. You're right, Eswin, I am just a low-level magic user now. Several awkward moments of silence pass, the party sadly aware of Redfern's failed attempt to become altruistic but no closer to escape from the dungeon here. So, now what? Sainadius asks, the eyes of the party squarely on you. Let's do a curiosity check on your hero to see if you notice anything about the area. Needing a 13 or less from Janet, a 13 was rolled. Success. Considering the question, you notice that the flickering torch on the wall a few feet away couldn't possibly be real, even placing your hand into the heatless magical flame to confirm the hypothesis, these torches are likely centuries old. It appears you're in a very old place, a mystery you will now need to unravel. The hallway here stretches to the north, the underground lake to the south impassable. Hence, your only option is north. Travel alert, using the hallway, you travel north, taking 5 minutes to arrive. The pristine hallway to the south leads to a grand underground coliseum, at least 100 feet in diameter and rising 50 feet to a dome-shaped ceiling above. Seated in concentric circles around you are hundreds of humans, dressed in regal tunics and apparently watching your every move. Indeed, you look totally surrounded. If it comes to combat, you won't have a chance. What is this place? Eswin wonders aloud, his weapon out and at the ready. The figures above do not move, however, and after a lengthy search you discover that they are merely mannequins made of stone, dressed and painted to appear like hundreds of human beings seemingly ready to cast judgment on those below. A column of light then begins to appear within the exact center of the Colosseum, a ghostly substance that quickly takes shape into something humanoid. Moments later, you stand face to face with the angry ghost of Zixxim, a tortured spirit who points his translucent arm at all of you. Invaders. Your transgressions are absolute and the penalty for this intrusion is death. Wait. Sainadius cries, perhaps the most accustomed of all of you to otherworldly beings. We're not here of our own free will. You and your heroes scream for Zixxim to spare you, blurting out all sorts of reasons why you should be spared. The angry ghost is certainly more than capable of wiping you out, and for a moment you sense imminent death. You feel the tortured spirit invade your mind, your own living soul, the revenant probing for answers. Zixxim then halts his attack and becomes even brighter, summoning all of his spiritual energy. A moment later he stands before you almost opaque, a tall, strong, human cleric dressed in grand silver plate mail and amazing to behold. He opens his ageless eyes and points, demanding to know one thing from you. You are not like the others who've come before, I can feel it. Tell me, are you lawful creatures, chaotic creatures, or something in between? Choose an option, lawful, neutral, chaotic. Zixxim gives pause at your response, wary. Laws are for those who choose not to think for themselves. I warn you now, should you choose the path of law ahead, this labyrinth will be your tomb. Zixxim stares at all of you with cold, lifeless eyes before continuing. I am Zixxim, a hero in my day who guarded a mighty city in the forest above. We were a champion of neutrality, no common law bound us, yet we were far from wild and chaotic. Respect and self-discipline guided our morality, and for centuries we thrived in a place few would dare even go. Then the Sislans came, with their righteous idealism and absolute faith. They tried to convert us, instilling their own sense of law and way of life. Some rebelled against the Sislans and turned to chaos, only to introduce the same intolerance shown by the Sislans themselves. In the end, civil war erupted and our culture teetered on destruction. The source of power within the Evilroot has always been the nexus that exists here, a portal to the realm of nightmares, a dark, monstrous, evil place. Nobody knows which side breached the portal to destroy the other, but in the end the legions of the damned poured through and destroyed us all, not a single sentient creature within a week's march was left alive. Zixxim sighs before continuing his sad tale. As punishment for resisting them, the denizens of the realm bound my very soul to this place. I am to walk this wretched dungeon for all eternity. My fate is sealed, but what be your path? Choose an option: lawfulness, neutrality, chaos. Yes, find the path between law and chaos and set your minds free, Zixxim exclaims, beginning to fade. Escape the labyrinth, protect the Onyx seal and save the day. Don't go to extremes. Each hero earns 67 experience points. Barthol has gained a new energy level and receives 4 new hit points. And with that the spirit of Zixxim fades, leaving you warned as well as stunned. Don't go to extremes. Ariana reiterates, unsure. Are we being challenged? We won't be able to just fight our way out of here, Eswin wisely concludes. We'll have to think our way out as well. I am pretty good with puzzles, Redfern softly adds, trying to be of some value. I will do my best to help. The ghost of Zixxim now departed and the Colosseum cold and quiet. You nod to Redfern with approval and then ask Eswin to take point, preparing to depart the massive chamber. A perfect hallway leads south while another hallway full of interesting murals on the walls leads away to the east. Your party rests and recovers for 8 hours. Wounds are tended, spells are memorized and your heroes are refreshed and re-energized. Travel alert: using the hallway, you travel east, taking 5 minutes to arrive. The Colosseum leads to a long, straight hallway, large and highly detailed paintings attached to both northern and southern walls every 10 feet or so. After passing by the closest paintings, you step to one that depicts a brave halfling fighter carrying a young, wounded woman from a pack of pursuing ghouls, and it appears that the fighter will not escape. Examining the painting, the subjects within suddenly begin to animate and actually move. Within moments, the ghouls overtake the fighter and the wounded woman and cruelly devour them, all in horrific detail. The monsters then seemingly turn in your direction, their claws and fangs dripping with humanoid blood. The sight is quite ghastly and difficult to watch, and all of you stand there for several moments trying to understand what is happening here. It's an extreme, don't you see? Sainadius utters, genuinely shocked. The neutrals are trying to show that by trying to save the girl, the warrior doomed them both. Sometimes, sacrifice can go too far, an extreme to be avoided. As you watch, the ghouls then somehow leap directly out of the painting and attack. Be careful, these monsters are not illusions. Your party is under attack. Coming at all of you are 3 ghouls. It's Janet's turn. What do you want her to do? Janet uses turn undead, but wasn't able to turn any of the encountered undead. Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at ghoul number 2, needing. Eswin readies his short sword +1 and swings at ghoul number 2, needing a 14 to hit. Die roll is a 6. Redfern readies his ornate dagger +1 and swings at ghoul number 2, needing a 14 to hit. Sainadius uses turn undead, attempting to turn destroy all encountered undead. Ghoul number 1 is turned, ghoul number 2 is turned. It's Barthol's turn. What do you want him to do? GM note: a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled, with higher values acting first. Barthol readies his short sword and swings at ghoul number 3, needing a 14 to hit. Die roll is a 10, +2 to hit. Barthol misses. Janet readies her mace +1 and swings at ghoul number 3, needing a 14 to hit. Die roll is a 13. Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at ghoul number 3, needing a 14 to hit. Die roll is a 19, +4 to hit. Ariana hits ghoul number 3, doing 6 points of damage and defeating it. Well done. All combatants have been defeated, ending the battle. Each hero receives 50 experience points. Your party manages to defeat the ghouls. Moments later, they wink out of existence and the painting resets to how you found it, the pack of ghouls again giving chase to the fighter and young girl. A variety of additional paintings line the walls for another 100 feet to the east. It seems we're in a very dangerous place, Sainairs observes, warning the party. Look, but don't touch. Of course, your party is still quite curious about the paintings. So, let's do a party curiosity check to see if you notice anything more. Needing a 10 or less from your heroes, a 11 was rolled. Failure, no, nothing more comes to mind as your party continues to march down the long corridor. Further along, you find yet another painting, this one depicting a lone thief about to murder an unsuspecting woman. However, the thief is unaware of several godly beings looking down on him from above, about to strike him down as well in disapproval. Again, let's do a party curiosity check to see if you notice anything special here. Needing a 10 or less from your heroes, a 12 was rolled. Failure, no, nothing further comes to mind, the painting is what it is. The dozens of murals that line the walls here continue to animate in silence, all of them traps to trick and destroy you. The large Colosseum lies to the west while the hallway of feats continues to the east. Travel alert, using the hallway, you travel east, taking 5 minutes to arrive, you continue to about the midway section of the long hallway and encounter yet another bewildering painting. This one depicts a wise, elderly human being acting as a massive balance, perhaps to judge the lawful against the chaotic. The painting seems out of place here and you wonder about it? Let's do a party wisdom check to see what everyone thinks about this painting. Needing a 12 or less from your heroes, a 13 was rolled. Failure, no, unfortunately, the painting seems like all the others, look, but don't touch. From what you can tell, you are exactly in the middle of the long hallway, as if the corridor was perfectly balanced here. Your party searches for traps but don't find any. Travel alert, using the hallway, you travel east, taking 10 minutes to arrive, you pass through the remainder of the hallway in fascinated silence. Turning north, you then step into a massive chamber filled with hundreds of walls that don't quite reach the ceiling. Be careful, you're about to enter a large, complex underground maze. Let's do a party intelligence check to see if anyone knows something more here. Needing a 13 or less from your heroes, a 4 was rolled. Success, the secret to a maze is always following the outside wall, Ariana suggests. I suppose we won't know what's beyond until we negotiate this labyrinth. You stand before the entrance to a large and complex maze to the north, while the hallway of feats remains ready to ensnare your party to the west. You spend a few minutes searching the area. However, you don't find any secret doors or exits. There is nothing hidden here, either. Your party searches for traps but don't find any. Travel alert, using the hallway, you travel north, taking a half hour to arrive, your party passes through most of the maze, your heroes marking the walls so that you can find your way back if necessary. Finally, you turn a corner and spot a large opening beyond, its western wall split and a warm glow emanating from within the fissure. With the vast majority of the maze behind you, your party stands perhaps 30 feet from a larger opening to the west. If necessary, you can return through the maze to the south. GM note, a trap has been detected. Click the Remove Traps button to try and disarm it, be careful. Barthol warns. A shallow pit trap lies before us. Trap. The floor gives way, revealing a shallow pit trap underneath. Barthol has a 25% chance of disarming traps and rolls a 94 on percentile dice. Failure, the shallow pit trap here remains a threat to the party. The trap is accidentally set off. Trap results, Janet is harmed for 1 point of damage, needing a 15 or greater, Janet rolls a 4 and fails versus Janet casts Cure Light Wounds on Redfern, healing him for 3 hit points. Travel alert, using the hallway, you travel west, taking a half hour to arrive. Your party enters a final chamber, its furthest western wall cleaved from floor to ceiling by a giant fissure and strong heat and light emanating from within. Be careful, the edges of the fissure have been worn smooth by something and the bleached bones lying about warn of immediate danger. The bones are of an entire adventuring party, slain on this very spot. Whatever killed them dissolved their flesh and all their belongings, the bones are quite clean. The crevice in the western wall is not large enough to squeeze through, so it looks like you will need to turn back. A loud, screeching wail then emanates from the fissure, and to your horror a group of large gelatinous cubes pounce from the wall and attack. Your party is under attack. Facing the entire party are 5 gelatinous cubes. Gelatinous cube number 1 closes in on Ariana to attack. Gelatinous cube number 5 closes in on Ariana to attack. It's Ariana's turn. What do you want her to do? Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 1, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 19, +4 to hit. Ariana hits gelatinous cube number 1, doing 8 points of damage and leaving it with 12 hit points. Janet readies her mace +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 1, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 6, +3 to hit. Janet hits gelatinous cube number 1, doing 7 points of damage and leaving it with 5 hit points. Needing a 25 or less on percentile dice, a 37 is rolled. Failure. Arthal tries to blend into the shadows but is unsuccessful, remaining visible to all. It's Redfern's turn. What do you want him to do? Redfern readies his ornate dagger +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 1, needing a 4 to hit. Sainadius readies his mace and swings at gelatinous cube number 1, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 2. Eswin readies his short sword +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 4. Gelatinous cube number 3 closes in on Eswin to attack. GM note, a new combat round has begun. In it, Janet readies her mace +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 2, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 7, +3 to hit. Janet hits gelatinous cube number 2, doing 4 points of damage and leaving it with 2 hit points. Gelatinous cube number 3 attacks Eswin with its body slam, needing a 16 to hit. Die roll is a 13, +4 to hit. Gelatinous cube number 3 hits Eswin, paralyzing him and causing him to become immediately immobilized for a half hour, needing a 11 or greater. Eswin rolls a 7 and fails versus paralysis or petrify. Gelatinous cube number 3 further damages Eswin, slamming him for 4 points of damage and leaving Eswin with 7 hit points. It's Senires's turn. What do you want him to do? Sainadius readies his mace and swings at gelatinous cube number 2, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 19, +2 to hit. Sainadius hits gelatinous cube number 2, doing 6 points of damage and defeating it. It's Ariana's turn. What? Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 5, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 20, which is an automatic hit and does. Redfern readies his ornate dagger +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 4, needing a 4 to hit. It's Arthal's turn. What do you want him to do? Arthal readies his short sword and swings at gelatinous cube number 4, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 14, +2 to hit. Arthal hits gelatinous cube number 4, doing 3 points of damage and leaving it with 5 hit points. Gelatinous cube number 5 attacks Ariana with its body slam, needing a 18 to hit. Die roll is a 18, +4 to hit. Gelatinous cube number 5 hits Ariana, potentially paralyzing her but having no effect. Ariana is immune to paralysis. Gelatinous cube number. GM note, a new combat round has begun. Initiative is roll. Janet readies her mace +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 4, needing a. Barthol readies his short sword and swings at gelatinous cube number 3, needing a 4 to hit. Sainadius readies his mace and swings at gelatinous cube number 3, needing a 4 to hit. Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at gelatinous cube. Redfern casts magic missile on gelatinous cube number 3, striking it with a magic missile for 4 points of damage. Gelatinous cube number 3 attacks Gelatinous cube number 5 attacks Ariana with its body slam, needing a 18 to hit. Die roll is a 16. GM note, a new combat round has begun. In it, Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number. It's Janet's turn. What do you want her to do? Janet readies her mace +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 5, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 17. Barthol readies his short sword and swings at gelatinous cube number 5, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 19, +2 to hit. Barthol hits gelatinous cube number 5, doing 2 points of damage and leaving it with 4 hit points. Redfern readies his ornate dagger +1 and swings at gelatinous cube number 5, needing a 4 to hit. Die roll is a 7, +3 to hit. Redfern hits gelatinous cube number 5, doing 4 points of damage and defeating it. Well done. All combatants have been defeated, ending the battle. Each hero receives 233 experience points. Janet has gained a new energy level and receives 5 new hit points and 1 new spell. Click the spells button to assign the new spell. Sainadius has gained a new energy level and receives 5 new hit points and 1 new spell. Click the spells button to assign the new spell. The gelatinous cubes are difficult to slay and you burn their remains to make sure they're no longer a threat. While the monsters have been destroyed, the crevice beyond offers no hope of escape. All you see and feel is hot magma beyond. It's definitely not the way out. Something isn't right. Let's do a party intelligence check to see if you can determine what it is. Needing a 13 or less from your heroes, a 18 was rolled. Failure. We've apparently reached the very end of the dungeon, Redfern laments, as equally fooled as the rest of your party. Zixxim warned us not to go to extremes and yet here we are at the far end of the dungeon. Unfortunately, you've reached the end of the maze, there is no going forward. You will need to return the way you came and look for another way out of the dungeon. Sainadius casts Cure Light Wounds on Ariana, healing her for 8 hit points. Travel alert, returning to the scales of justice, you take 10 minutes to arrive. From what you can tell, you are exactly in the middle of the long hallway, as if the corridor was perfectly balanced here. Fully expecting some sort of magical calamity, you're pleasantly surprised when your hand passes directly through the painting. It's an illusion. You feel only empty air beyond the illusion and deduce that you've found a secret hallway leading to the south. Your party now sees the painting here for what it is, an illusion masking some sort of chamber beyond. Is this perhaps the dungeon exit? Travel alert, using the doorway, you travel south, taking 15 minutes to arrive. You climb a short stone stairway and emerge within a large, oblong chamber lit by more magical torches. An impressive stone sarcophagus rests within the exact center of the tomb, while more murals line the outer walls, frescoes you know to stay away from. Unfortunately, you still don't see any escape from this place. As you enter the chamber, the murals lining the walls begin to animate, dozens of individual scenes coming to life before your eyes. Half of the walls depict scenes of extreme goodness while the other half depict extreme evil. You sense that these depictions are both highly magical and highly dangerous. You don't have a lot of time to escape this place. A bright light shaped as a humanoid figure suddenly appears before you, transforming into the ghost of Zixxim. His warning is both intriguing as well as ominous. You are the first to reach my tomb, but beware, the shades of our destroyed past will destroy you too if you don't soon escape. Zixxim looks to the dozens of images animated all about you, the magical constructs now beginning to move slowly toward you. Seek the balance between law and chaos, and remember, the heart is where all answers can be found. Now, decide before these visions of our past tear you apart. Zixxim then disappears, leaving your party to its fate. The conflicting images depicting both the Sislan as well as monstrous invasions above centuries ago close in and quickly force you to the center of the chamber alongside Zixxim's stone sarcophagus. You watch as the mistakes of the past play out before you, deadly three-dimensional movies that will soon destroy your party if you don't act immediately. Your party searches for traps but don't find any. The sarcophagus of Zixxim is made of solid obsidian and still perfectly polished after centuries of exposure. An intriguing statue of Zixxim is chiseled into the back of the sarcophagus, but you won't have enough time to search it completely. If you hurry, there is just enough time to search the head, chest, or feet of the Zixxim statue. With your very lives at stake, which do you choose? Choose an option: head, chest, feet? Yes, exactly. Zixxim told you the heart is where all answers are found. You chose correctly. After a moment, you find what appears to be some sort of knob or button. Each hero earns 167 experience points. As the destructive images close in to destroy you, Oriana pushes the button in the chest of the statue, releasing what appears to be a strong burst of anti-magic. A brilliant flash inundates the tomb and the negation of the deadly visions scream in your ears. Moments later, everything is gone and the chamber goes dark and silent. You have saved yourselves. The spirit of Zixxim then appears before you one final time, his soul finally at rest. Well done. You see, my heart was your salvation. My sarcophagus was made centuries ago containing an anti-magic bomb designed to deter tomb robbers. The monsters that imprisoned me didn't know about it, but I had to be sure you were worthy of being saved as well. My soul is released, now flee my dungeon, stop the woman above who means to usher in a new age of damnation and save the world. GM note: before moving on, you should take this opportunity to rest and fully heal yourselves. Zixxim's spirit fades away forever and a stone stairway is revealed leading up and out of the dungeon. It's now time to escape the tomb, get the drop on Sandaria above and still win the day. Rest up first if you need. Your party rests and recovers for 8 hours. Wounds are tended, spells are memorized and your heroes are refreshed and re-energized. Janet casts Cure Light Wounds on Eswin, healing him for 5 hit points. Your party rests and recovers for 8 hours. Wounds are tended, spells are memorized and your heroes are refreshed and re-energized. A quick search finds that the unlocked small chest has 1 scroll of Dispel Magic. Janet nods and takes the scroll of Dispel Magic.